Welcome back to Straight Facts on Friday. The Premier League returns. It's a new era for Manchester United. I'm joined by the Friday team in Dan Lawless. We've got Staffy on the show. Don is here as well. Little announcement, Tuesday show, we're adding an additional person to it as well. Deluded Gunnar is joining us on Tuesday, so a big shout out to him as well. Boys, how are you all? You all well? You all good?
I'm good, man. I'm looking forward to this show. I'm looking forward to
and Lawless, before we actually go any further, I want to say a big thank you to you and to West Ham. You know, I think you have saved Man United's season. I want to thank you very much for last week. Thank you.
I don't just want thanks. I want apologies because people aren't aware the tears and outrage in this group chat over that penalty. Right?
It wasn't a pen.
Raging. And what happened as a result of that? You got Amorim. So all of that crying and belly aching, I think an apology is due, especially from you, Staffy. You was going, I hate West Ham. I've got an agenda against West Ham. So take that back. Take your agenda back.
You know what? Now. I will take that back. I have decided, I've told my fans and my subscribers that now I've become an honorary West Ham fan for the rest of my life. If you would like to ship me a West Ham jersey, then I will wear it on games that matter to you. Huh?
Probably got
already has one. Yeah. So if one of you guys wants to ship me one, I will proudly wear it in games that, you know what? If it's a tough day for West Ham, they need to win a game for whatever reason, I will become a West Ham fan on the day. Just because you didn't help me out once this season, twice. You took away Aaron Bissaka from me, and then you took away Eric Ten Hag from me. I'm forever grateful to you guys. Thank you so much. And you know what, then? When I come to London, I will ask you to take me to a West Ham game. I've never been to a West Ham game. Please take me to a West Ham. That is my way of thanking you. I will put money in your club's pocket by purchasing a ticket on the day. That is the biggest thank you I could give you guys.
You can get a shirt as well. Might as well get a shirt while you're here.
You know what? Fair enough. And I'll put my name on it. It will be the only non-Man United jersey that I have. There's nothing more I can do than that. That is the best thank you I could give you.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm thanking you for helping move my club forward, but I'm still saying that was in no way, shape, or form a penalty. And what I hope happens, because how you shamelessly defended it, is I hope you concede 2 this weekend in that way. And I want to see you say it's a penalty. So, yeah, I'm going to throw that right back at you, brother. I'm throwing that right back at you. On that, look, obviously a lot to talk about with Arsenal wanting revenge against Newcastle this weekend. Should Nwaneri start? We've, of course, got the big game, Chelsea coming to Old Trafford. And I think some other really good tests as well this weekend with Spurs playing Aston Villa and an away trip for Manchester City as they go to Bournemouth. But I did want to start off, and I'm going to go to Staffy to begin with. Ruben Amorim is now the Manchester United manager. It's been formally announced today. That is over the line. A new era for our club begins. How excited are you about the season ahead now and life after Ten Hag?
I can go back to enjoying my club. I can go back to enjoying my team. I no longer have to watch games and worry that if we win today, it's a shithouse win where paper's over the cracks. I don't have to sit here and worry about being gaslighted by my manager when we perform poorly and we win the game, and then he lies about processes and patience this, patience that. I don't no longer have to worry about that. I can go back to doing what I enjoy doing, which is just being a fan, just sitting there, enjoying the game, hoping the best for my team, hoping that we pick up 3 points every time we play, hoping that every time we play, everyone looks, no agendas, no this. Hey, even you mentioned it the other day, Bruno did something well, and I just liked your tweet. Because why not? Bruno was balling on the day. You think if Bruno was balling under Amorim, I'm going to have an issue with it. My agenda has always been clear, which is I want Man United to be the best club in the world. And if we're moving like that, then I hope it works. You know, Ruben Amorim achieved a few things in Portugal, very highly rated in his own country. I see a lot of Sporting Lisbon fans actually under certain Man United content creators channels leaving comments about how they should be patient with him, what good he's brought to their club, how successful he's been, how we brought him back to winning after like years of not winning the league. I think it was exactly 16 years where they haven't won the Portuguese league. Now he won them 2 in 4 years. His character, the way he communicates with his players, with the fans, The word, I mean, people overuse this word, but even is his aura around the club, how his presence is noticed. And if you could bring all this to Man United, I'll be very happy. I'm not gonna jump the gun. I'm not gonna say anything crazy because a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's doubt to fail." No, he's not gonna fail just because 5 other managers failed, and he's also not gonna automatically win the league because Ineos hired him and it's not the Glazers. There is no reason why I could look at Amorim right now and say this guy's gonna win us the league in the next 2-3 years. He could, but the likelihood is that he won't, and that's fine. That's how it is in football. I think the likelihood of a manager failing at a club or not winning at a club than actually winning, the percentage is much higher. So I'm just gonna wish him the best. I will back him as long as he's acting correctly. There's no guarantees, by the way, that in 3 years I won't be saying Ruben Amorim out because I don't know what he's gonna be doing in the meantime. But I will give him the time that I give Ten Hag, the time that I give Mourinho, the time I give Oli, the time I gave everyone, and I have a good feeling about it. 100%.
I think that's sensible. That's sensible from Staffy.
That's what Staffy's sensible after all. Oh my god,
that was the most sensible thing you've ever said. And yeah, listen, I agree. Cautious optimism, I think, is how.
Because my emotions are not clouding me right now, Lawless, and you need to understand that I hated Ten Hag. Like when I told you I wish he never gets a job in a top 5 league again, I was not joking. I pray he gets a job in the MLS, so at least I can go hackle him when he's here. Yeah. I just want to remind him of how much I don't like him and how much he ruined my football club.
But that's why Ten Hag should be a lesson. Because a lot of Man United fans wanted him. A lot of Man United fans were excited at the signing of Ten Hag, predicted and hoped for a lot of big things. And, you know, so that's why it's always good to remember that, but cautiously optimistic. You know, Amorim, someone West Ham were talking to, I wanted him at the club, you know, a very progressive young manager who has a record of improving clubs and taking clubs, you know, that where they should be, once great clubs, and putting them back at the top. You know, that's kind of what you want. It's all about if he can do it at Man United with this team. I don't think coming in, he has the squad that he needs. It's going to take some transfer windows to really build and shape that squad, get a lot of deadwood out of that, and really, you know what I mean, build that up into his image and then to see what he can do. But it's going to take some serious money. But I'm interested to see, because what he needs to do is coming in is to try and get the best out of what he's got. You know what I mean? And that's going to be the challenge, and whatever system he's going to play, that's the interesting.
I think what's really interesting, again, cautious optimism. I love that. I like how it sounds, and I think it's right. What I am really liking, you get comments like this, one of our members, respect you as a member, but it says nothing is fixed after Ten Hag sacking. Amorim is the new United victim. Fans like Staffy will turn on him in 12 months, never mind 18. Now, what I want to say about you see comments like this. You see comments about, I'm not worried, nothing's changed at Man United. It's the same as before. It doesn't matter how good the manager is, how good the head coach is, nothing will ever improve. There's a flaw to that logic, and I could wait until everybody spoke and then just drop the bomb on everybody, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say it from the beginning. For the first time post-Fergie, we've got football decision makers at the club with very good CVs. For the first time in our club's history, we have appointed a head coach. He is not the manager. The big headline on our website stated head coach. There is something, the fundamental change in direction is huge. Man United, 5 times on the bounce, failed because we tried to replicate what we had with Sir Alex, where a manager has huge control over the football club, the types of players we buy, the footballing philosophy. And therefore, by proxy, you're controlling all the other departments as well because they're working to bring to life your vision. This is something that I push back against with every single manager. Now, I don't think that Ten Hag is necessarily a bad coach. I'm a little different from Staffy. I definitely know that Jose Mourinho was a world-class coach, still is a very good coach. LVG was no bum. Ollie's a little different, you know, but he did well. And David Moyes is David Moyes' level. But the biggest mistakes we made in the last 11 years was hiring managers and allowing them to dictate how the club would operate. So you don't need to like Amorim. You don't need to like Dan Ashworth. These things, you can say they're rubbish and go, I don't think it's going to work because you brought bad people in. Fine. I can accept that. What I can't accept, and what has been debunked, and you're just flat out wrong when you say it, is this will fail because nothing's changed. Anybody, whether it's a top-level journalist, a bitter rival or a weird kind of Man United fan who says it, they're just wrong. There is no debate to be had, in my personal opinion. Zero. I know some people have this weird philosophy of opinions can't be wrong. Like, if your opinion is nothing's changed, your opinion is wrong because factually it has. So for me, that's why I am excited. Amorim, yes, great. Some of the players we're looking at, brilliant. But it's about the overarching package. 11 years I've been screaming for this setup at my club. It's finally here, and I believe in it. And it doesn't necessarily... Go on, mate, go on.
I was going to ask you, how demoralizing do you think it will be to the fans of if it does fail with everything? Because you made a good point. Like, you've got the new structure and a quality manager. It should do well. But do you think, how demoralizing could it be as a fan when you have all of that and it still fails and you're like, well, what else can we do?
So this is the thing. It's always demoralizing when it doesn't work with a head coach or a manager, whatever your club sort of proposes. But Don can probably answer that question better than me. And I'll throw it to Don this way. Don, along with Ches and a number of other Chelsea fans, although the first 2 years under Clearlake and Todd Bowley didn't work in terms of reducing the results, of course, they called out the mistakes that led to that, but overall, they believed in the project still. So I think from a Man United fan point of view, and I'd love to throw this kind of question out to Don, if we start to see progression, we start to see the squad be like certain types of profiles consistently being bought, we're developing a good squad, but the head coach just isn't quite good enough to take us to that next level, I don't think it will completely demoralize us. And this is where Man United fans have got to understand we no longer have a manager. So it now means that every time a head coach is sacked, we are not starting again from scratch. That for me is why it's less demoralizing now if a head coach fails versus our previous setup and regime. And I'd love to kind of throw that over to Dom because it's similar to what Chelsea have been going through the last couple of years.
100%, bro. I spoke about it many times last season. Like, for me, the players weren't as bad as what we were seeing because the guy that was leading them was shit, bro. You know what I mean? And it's very clear to see now. Obviously, Maresca's had new signings in that, but everything about our style of play, like what Staffy's saying, the intangibles, off the pitch in terms of his aura, if you want to call it that. You know what I mean? How he managed the whole situation about the big squads, telling the media off pretty much, the whole Chilwell situation. All of these things, bro, it adds to it. You know what I mean? It's not just about picking out a team. There's so many things you got to do as a manager. You know what I'm saying? So, end of the day, Lawless does make a good point because yes, you've got people up there with football brains and whatnot, but they still need to be making the right signings, Terry. Do you know what I mean? It's not just going to be on the manager, right? They need to be able to bring in the right sort of signings for whoever you're looking to bring in. Because right now, let's say you bring in Amorim and you completely go away from his sort of manager to someone else, you're gonna have a few Man United fans saying, "Yo."
Well, yeah. If we do that, and we buy bad players, of course we're going to criticize it. And there's a comment actually says, Terry, what guarantees you, or what proof have you got that suggests a new structure will do well? That's a separate conversation. And I've noticed this with what we're doing. That's a different conversation to what I brought up. I've said, if your rationale for us not working is because nothing's changed, that's wrong. If your rationale, and I'm going to throw this back as a question to you, Don, do you think our board are going to continue to buy bad players? And do you think we're going to keep changing the direction of head coach each time? Do you actually think that will happen?
Surely not. That's all I can say in it. Surely not. Right now I'm looking at Ineos because obviously they made that mistake of keeping Ten Hag. Like that was strike one for me where I'm looking at him thinking, like they actually kept this guy, after he won the FA Cup, after everything that they've been seeing, after Jimmy Boy came in with all the talk about, we need to be performing on and off the pitch and all of these things. They decided to keep him, But then again, it's still quite early into their tenure, Terry. I'm not one of these guys that's I've got the same energy that I had for Clearlake. I said to Clearlake, it's at the start of the tenure where they've made these mistakes. Same thing as Ineos, they can rectify them. So I highly doubt they're going to be buying bums, innit? You know what I mean? You're always going to buy a bum or two, you know what I mean? Even if you're Pep, for example, right? But the main thing is, majority of the signings need to be successful, bro. And if you've got football people up there, it's more than likely that it will be, innit? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, if you think about the signings we've just made already under them, so far, De Ligt's been very good. Maswari's been one of the best players in the league this season, positionally, like in terms of his position. There ain't many fullbacks that have been better than him as an individual. Ugarte hasn't got going yet, but he was great the other night. And look, he's definitely an Amorim type player, right? Because he played with him before, did brilliantly. Yoro hasn't kicked a ball yet. He's been injured, so we can't judge. Xerxes hasn't looked great. I'll be honest, he hasn't looked great. He's had moments, he hasn't looked great yet. So based on Ineos's initial signings, and now with the coach we've got coming in, I think they've done a good job transfer-wise. It was rivals that were telling us all summer, bloody hell, United have done good business. United have done good business. Now that we've suddenly got an exciting manager that everybody knows is good, head coach, sorry, I've got to get the language right. Suddenly it's, yeah, but I think you're still buying bums. Where's that talk? Why suddenly the change in narrative, Staffy?
Oh, Terry, there was a bunch of Chelsea fans that were saying this is how Chelsea need to be moving when Ineos were making the signings that they were making. You know what I'm saying? So, end of the day, let's not try to change the narrative now. They have signed some good players, and like I said before, I don't think they're as bad as what they were. You know what I mean? I still think we're going to finish above them, but I don't think it's going to be a madness like what it might have been with Ten Hag. I think you've actually got a manager now that knows what he's doing. You know, I haven't really done much research on him. I've read up on him on The Athletic, Terry. To see what his strengths are and his weaknesses are, but I need to do a lot more research. Obviously, be watching closely in it because you've got a team where you can do something. But it'll be interesting to see who he's going to be looking at because you're changing the shape, bro. You know what's going to happen with Mainu, right? Where's Mainu going to play in that two-man midfield? What's going to happen with
central midfield? That's where that boy is going to be. Central midfield.
It's going to be intriguing. It's going to be interesting to see in it what happens. Because for me personally, Tuchel did well at Chelsea. I don't like going free at the back. I don't like that. You know what I mean?
I see one team sheet with Garnacho at left wing back. I was like, what's going on here? Like,
yeah, I mean, look, people are like
when you
speculating
see
around
these things, Lolis, you hear it one ear out of the other. Don't pay attention.
I mean, listen. I did a 11 on the screen when I did a video the other day, and I had Rashford in that position. Not because I think he'll play there. I just put him there for the sake of it, right? But there's options at the club. But this is also the narrative that I'm just not going to allow to be rewritten without challenge. Forget that Amorim's coming in now in November. The beginning of Ineos's actual takeover, which started in the summer where they could start making squad changes. We all said 3 years to build a squad. Suddenly, Amorim's come in. Everyone's gone, it's going to take 3 years, though, to build a team that can win a title. But we already knew that. Nothing's changed whether he came in the summer or whether he comes in now, in my personal opinion. I wanted some super chats on this before we go into the game that's up this weekend. It says Clear Lake's actions upon taking over the club were almost all viewed as poor, not by me. Their action, let me rephrase that actually. I like their vision. I think they executed elements a bit poorly in the beginning, is what I would say. 100%. In retrospect, where were they? We wouldn't have been at this point of growth if we hadn't have had those moves. Patience is a virtue. But I think it's, listen, I understand that. And I think there's elements of you did some wrong things with the coach hiring, as an example. And I think your first summer where you went for the sort of Koulibalis and Sterlings, if you'd have gone with what you're now doing, I think you would have been in a better position sooner. Yep. But you rectified them. This here says, if we do not smash you guys. Okay, we'll come back to that one later because it's about the game, my friend. Big respect. Terry always says United should buy players for the team and not the manager, but Amorim only wants his old players that fit the 4-3-3. What happens if he fouls and those players don't suit the new? Again, this is the point, right? So maybe you're missing out on these things here. When it comes to building a club philosophy, you need to build, again, I wouldn't want us to build one that's so unique that only one manager in the world can manage those players in that squad. You know, it's about buying profiles of players where there are, not a litany, but there is a good, strong candidate list of other head coaches that can come in and coach that team. I don't believe footballers are as system-based and as robotic as people make out. You can see that with how good Liverpool currently look under Slot. And everybody's looking at, oh, wow, they're so much different to what they used to be. Slot himself has just said there's a few subtle differences, but overall it's the same style of play. So I'm not worried about it at all. I'll tell you why, Mohammed, because it's how the majority of successful clubs, and we're talking pound for pound here, some are much poorer than a Man United, some are as rich. All the clubs that are currently are successful operate in the way in which you've just challenged. So I don't see why Man United would be the only one operating in that model that couldn't yield success and where it's a disaster if they have to change the head coach. Nowhere else. No one says that about Real Madrid. No one says it about Bayern Munich. Nobody says it about Dortmund. No one says it about Ajax. Nobody says it about City, although they ain't gone through a manager. Nobody says it about those clubs and goes, oh, they're losing their manager. What's going to happen? They're going to fall off. They don't, do they? Invariably. Somebody else comes in and they pick up the mantle. I think it will be the same at Man United in time once we settle that in.
Do you think, though, if you do, you've identified, okay, this is how we're going to play. And if you do end up sacking him, you'll get a manager that plays a similar way rather than trying to
it may not be the same formation, but this is the thing. The obsession in formations is crazy because, listen, a 3-4-3 in certain moments in the game is going to be a 5-4-1. In certain times, it's going to be a 3-4, whatever, like a 2-1. Like it will change depending on the team you're playing, home or away, personnel. So you might have another manager who specializes in 4-3-3. It isn't going to be a huge difference in the way you play. Now, if you build a team where you've got no one that can play left back or right back and they're all wing backs, you have to think long and hard about who then comes in as a manager. But I guarantee we build this squad where it isn't just players that we buy that can only play one position in that.
All four managers that we had the strongest link with in the summer anyways, all of them played three in the back.
Yeah,
that's now when I see that Amram was the signing, I see the hiring. I could see why they were doing certain signings.
Yeah, and you look at
Amram,
it
was Inzaghi, it was what's his name, Tuchel, and it was De Zerbi. All of them play with three in the back. And as you said, and I just want to educate people just slightly on something here.
Wait, Staffy, De Zerbi don't play three in the back, bro.
Who?
De Zerbi.
Didn't De Zerbi play three in the back a lot of times?
No,
I could swear there was times he played there. Even if he didn't, the point I was trying to make is sometimes the tactics can be tweaked, but the philosophy can remain the same. You could play attacking football, or you could play the possession football, or you could park the bus in different formations. And that's the one thing that's going to be big for us with Amram and the next manager. The mistake that we've done in the past that I don't expect Inus to replicate is going from a Louis van Gaal to a Jose Mourinho. And I think that was the biggest mistake we made in the past decade. We went from a tactician who likes to play a different formation, who was more about developing players. Literally, he's the only one that had a real clear out and played and signed a hella youngsters. Then the next year, we went to Mourinho, who wanted to bench Rashford, wanted to bench Martial, wanted to bring in win-now players like Ibrahimovic, like Pogba, like Sanchez. That is the mistake that I don't expect to be replicated. The vision will remain the same. The individual and the way they apply it just might be a little bit different. That's all.
No, I totally agree. I think, listen, and I can tell by the way that a lot of rivals are, not you boys on the panel, that there is a little bit of fear that this could work out for United, because of course there is. There's a reason why with Chelsea started doing better this season. You've seen lots of people just come out and want to attack them more so than when they were doing badly. Arsenal in the last 2 years with their growth, people want to attack it because we all enjoy seeing our rivals absolutely in the gutter. But when we start seeing them do the right things, there is a frustration about that. There's no doubt. Viewers, make sure like buttons have been hit. Please make sure that you are subscribing as well. And 2,500 people pretty much watching. So make sure you hit the like button. Get that done for us now. Quite a few of you have done it already. Waiting for a few more of you to get that locked in now, people. Obviously, a big game this weekend. I'm going to do the neutral on this first. What are you saying, Dan? Chelsea go to Old Trafford. There's new manager bounce. Chelsea kind of need a win. Lost to Liverpool recently, out the Carabao Cup. So they're kind of needing a little bit of a win to pick up their spirits. How do you see this game going, Lawless?
Mate, this is so important for Chelsea. More so that I think the pressure's more on Chelsea. I think Man United, not necessarily from a points in the table point, but from a morale standpoint, you can afford to lose this because Ruud van Nistelrooy is taking charge. You lose this, you still feel like, well, Amarim's not coming yet. So, it is what it is. And you still ride the high of Ten Hag being gone, right? If Man United loses. If Chelsea lose, mate, you start looking at their run very differently. And from a team that looked like they could potentially comfortably get top four, and potentially break into the race, maybe they look like a team that you're battling for Europa League. Like it's so huge. But yeah, I do think Chelsea I have the edge. I mean, we talked a little bit before about the squads. They have got the better team. They're the players. They've got the better players. Manager wise, it's up in the air. Like obviously, both of them are probably equally experienced. Ruud van Nistelrooy and Maresca. Yeah, I give it to Chelsea, man. I just give the edge to Chelsea, but the momentum, the positivity, and the fact that it's Old Trafford, it's not as cut and dry as that. It really isn't, man. So
That's the
I
main
can't
thing for me.
call it.
That's the main thing for me, Lawless, because like you're saying, bro, we've got the better team. You know what I'm saying? Right now in the league, we're in better form. You know what I mean? We've actually got a structure right now. You know, the main thing we need to go over there to at Old Trafford, bro, is quieten the crowd, right? Very similar to what we did at Anfield in the first half. We quietened the crowd until Cole decided to be rash, right? Because it's all about the intangibles for this game. If we play our game, we will beat them. We just need to make sure that we don't get, you know, involved in stupidity at the back, like Cole, you know, making rash decisions. You know, you don't do stupid things that's going to make the crowd wild up, because it's going to be a party over there, bro. Them sides on Sunday, they're happy.
I mean,
They're free. They're free at last.
It seems like, I feel like a lot of the fans, and, you know, Staffy and Terry will be able to correct me on this, but from my perception, that there are a lot of fans that go to games that seem to be Ten Hag in, the ones in the crowd. So I don't know how party.
They're not Ten Hag in, their manager in. There's a section of fans that will sing any manager's name. It doesn't matter who.
Yeah, they weren't.
And that's also cultural for them, in the sense of Man United fans are so used to having a manager, and I'm talking about a bona fide manager who runs a football club. And this is almost something that I think United fans have got to get their heads around. And it's not a dig; it's just managers don't exist anymore. Everybody's a head coach, especially as most of the top quote unquote managers in England are from the continent. They're from Europe, some from South America and stuff. In those nations, as far as especially the top level, they've never been trained to be managers. They've always been head coaches, right? So it's the Man United fans will get behind, a lot of them at Old Trafford will get behind whoever is in charge, because it's just been ingrained in them for 140 years to get behind the manager. The fact it's rude and they know it's an interim period, you've got to understand the level of this is like this is like a John Terry or a Drogba managing Chelsea for a few weeks to get them through a period. You know, it would be like, who could you pick for it'd be like the Canio coming in for a couple of weeks until your next manager comes in. You know, your fans at West Ham are just going to get behind that. So you are right, Don. You've got to do everything you can to keep Man United quiet at the weekend. I'm talking the players and the crowd, because I think it's going to be a raucous party-like atmosphere. You're spot on.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're going to come out, you know, with a lot of energy, a lot of grit, you know, and it's not just the fans that are fed up with Ten Hag. It's a lot of these players, bro. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you get rid of a bad smell and you feel like you can just express yourself and, you know, you've got a different voice, like what Staffy was saying the other day. I heard what you were saying, Staffy. It's spot on, bro. You know what I mean? So, end of the day, obviously, I'm still confident in my team that we're going to go over there and get something done. I was more confident with Ten Hag, of course, but I'm kind of obviously, look, I'll be real in it, yeah? It's annoying that Ten Hag's been sacked, but as a Chelsea fan, it will actually hit different. It will be a lot better for us if we manage to beat you without Ten Hag there, because then you can't be using the whole thing about it's Ten Hag tax and that. You know what I'm saying? I actually want to go out there, beat you guys, because to me, that is now a bigger test. We already had a test before going to Old Trafford. We haven't won there since 2013. It's been so long. And now we're going to Old Trafford, to a place that we don't like, where they've just sacked the manager that's been shit for them. You know, so if we overcome that test, bro, that's going to be massive for us. Massive for us. You know, and right now we're in touching distance with the likes of Arsenal and all these teams, you know. So that's only going to push us further up in the table and we keep moving, bro. You know what I mean?
You'll be in touch and distance with us if we win, because it's going to be at what, a 3-point difference, something like that. How many points are you ahead of us by? I think you're 17 and we have 11. So that puts us in touch and distance.
If we beat you, we'll be 9 points ahead.
Yeah, it's a big game for us. And listen, it's on Rude right now to make this as easy and put Emram in the best situation possible when he comes in, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You know? And on the game, I'm very confident going into the game, which is something I could have said a few days ago. I always said that Ten Hag, honestly, to me, he's just a net negative. I think without him being a manager, we could have won more games than we did, let alone someone else being there for him. So after the game, obviously against Leicester, which the only thing I'm really taking from that game is not necessarily the tactics. I already know what these players are good for. I know what they're not good for. Let's be honest. Rude didn't change a lot anyways. He kind of just had, I think he made a couple tactical tweaks. The fullbacks just looked a little bit more advanced. He changed the personnel in the midfield. But the main thing to take out of that game was the confidence. And I think the way the game was such a goal fest, and the players were like, they were literally laughing at certain goals they scored. It's just like they were just reminded, like, yo, we're actually not as bad as people thought we were. Like, we're not 14th bad. We're actually better than this. But for one reason or another, we couldn't show it. And I think a big part of it was 100% the manager, whether it's his tactics, whether it's the way that he just motivates his players, all that stuff. And I always said this, and people can laugh all they want. I see the chat already saying, oh, Staffy's confident. Oh, Staffy's this, Staffy's that. I've been saying this for a hot minute now. These players are a lot better than what this manager's been showing. And in a month or two, we will be having a different discussion. All these players that we're writing off from combined 11s and this and that, you will not be doing this in a couple months. In a couple months, we're not going to be guaranteed fourth or top four, I should say. We're not going to be guaranteed anything. However, these players will show a lot better than they've shown. Because the way, and I'm not going to make much out of the Leicester game, but the way we didn't struggle for one moment against Leicester, but I've seen us struggle against Coventry. I've seen us struggle against lower league side, relegation sides, League One sides. I've seen us struggle against all types of teams. I saw FC20 come and play us off the park. I've seen Fenerbahce play us off the park. I've seen so many teams of Leicester quality and less play us off the park. Guess what happened? We had the crowd on side. Obviously, we had a manager that's not that. We had so many reasons to be a little bit better going into that game, feeling a little bit better. And it showed. All of a sudden, Bruno can score goals again. All of a sudden, our backline is not conceding all these chances against them. Our midfield wasn't getting ran over. Ugarte, who I don't like, showed me why we signed him. Because he was all over that pitch. He was doing his best impression of N'Golo Kante. He was covering 70% of that pitch. He was just everywhere. Casemiro all of a sudden can shoot again. Why is Casemiro shooting now when he wasn't allowed to shoot under Ten Hag? Things like this. There was Dallo playing much higher up the pitch. Dallo actually getting a final third action leading to goal when he missed that open chance against West Ham.
That guy's a bum. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me of Leicester. Like, they weren't even.
No, I'm not trying to convince you of Leicester. I'm just trying to remind you that these players can actually do the basics right. And we did the basics right so much that the game
was Leicester. Like, we have seen you bang goals in this competition, like under 10.
That is not true.
You want
me to give you a list? Hold on, let me give you a list of the teams that we struggle against. We struggle against FC20. We struggle against Fenerbahce. Last season, we struggled against Coventry. The only reason we won the FA Cup is because I forgot who was on offside. That guy, just because he had a size, I don't know, like 15 boot instead of 14. That's all. He didn't clip his toenails on the day. All right?
You beat Southampton 3-0. You beat Preston 7-0.
We struggled against who we played, Charlton or something. I forgot who we played. We struggled against much worse teams.
No, I'm saying that we've seen. No, what I'm saying, Staffy, is this game. It could be just like one of them one-off ones that we see happen under Ten Hag. Like I said, the Preston game, the Southampton game. You have these games where you're dominant.
Okay, but what is the coincidence that it happened the day Ten Hag left? First game Ten Hag.
I think it is a coincidence. I think it's a coincidence. I think this Chelsea game will be much more of an interesting test to see where these players are. Big game.
Of course, they're miles better than Leicester. I'm not expecting the same thing. However, I'm saying that the quality is not as much as you guys thought. Chelsea's team is good. They are not miles better than us. We have players that can turn up on the day, and I think we're going to win. I'm going to give you an early prediction. I think we're going to win. There's a reason why there's been 11 years. Why these guys, by the way, they get Don is laughing, but they get rattled when they come to Old Trafford. It's we've seen it over the last couple of years. We beat them with McTominay last season. We were going through our worst period, and then we still beat these guys. I'm not saying that's the same Chelsea team, but they don't travel well to Old Trafford.
Don't let me remind you about that game, bro. What he was doing.
You talk about Poch tax, but I'm not allowed to talk about Ten Hag tax, which is. I
never said you can't. I literally said that in my thing.
But that's the hypocrisy going on YouTube right now.
No, I said it's annoying. I literally said it's annoying that we didn't get our goal as well. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get some. That's what I was hoping we're gonna get some. You know what I'm saying? But like I've said, for me, it will actually be bigger for us if we still manage to beat you without Ten Hag being there, bro. Because like I said, we're up against you and we're up against the crowd. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Listen, there's a very good possibility where you guys win. I'm not sitting here saying there's no chance Chelsea will win. If Chelsea end up winning, I won't be that shocked. I just fancy our chances now to win because I know I have players that can turn up on the day. I back the way that I think this team can play. yes, again, it's just Leicester, but I saw more of it in that game than I've had all season, and I played all type of opposition all season. That's what I'm trying to say. My fullbacks are not as bad as they've been looking. My center backs are not as bad as they're looking. Even the front line, they're not as bad as they were looking. Our midfield is not as bad as they were looking. And I fancy my chances against you guys. I think there's certain matchups on the pitch where we can be better than you guys. Your back line is sus. I understand my attack hasn't been good, but I could get something off your back line. I see a mistake in your back line.
I like this comment here that says, because you beat Leicester, you think you can beat anyone. Let me just, well, I want to say this. But again, you haven't said that, but let's just say you did. Hypothetically, you said that. Man United under Ten Hag beat the best team in the world in an FA Cup final. Man United under Ten Hag have beaten at least once, every team in the Premier League? So it is not a weird statement for a Man United fan to say on an off game, or on a one game basis, I think we can beat a Chelsea. I think we can beat a Liverpool. I think we can beat an Arsenal. This squad of players, the core of this group, have beaten everybody in the Premier League at one point in the last couple of years. So the idea that with a new manager bounce, a feel-good factor around the stadium, some of the players feeling maybe a little bit more positive about themselves, for it to be called crazy or to be laughed at or belittled that United could win this game, for me, is so intellectually dishonest. It is unbelievable. Staffy isn't sitting here and predicting United are going to win 4-0. Nor am I. I'm predicting a Man United win. I think we're going to win 2-1, something along those lines. Actually, I'm a liar. I think it'd be 2-1 at halftime. I think it's going to end up about 3-2. I think it's going to be a very high goal score. I wrote it down, what I was saying. I read the wrong thing. I think it's going to be a high goal scoring game. Chelsea have some mistakes at the back. Goalkeepers playing out from the back. A lot of the goals that, if you actually look at Chelsea, have conceded in the last few weeks have been more from mistakes and teams playing through them. And I think that's where we can capitalize. Do I think we're keeping a clean sheet? No. Chelsea's attack is too good, too quick, too potent, and I don't think we'll have the structure in place that's going to make us that difficult to break down. But I'm predicting a narrow Manchester United win. That is no disrespect to Chelsea. I'm not saying they're crap. I'm not saying they're overrated. I'm not saying they're rubbish. I'm not saying that half their players shouldn't be there. I'm not slagging the manager off. Even at the end of the game, it's going to be one of those matches. And we saw this with the Liverpool game from a different point of view, but I think the same sort of perspective is, even if you're the losing team, I don't think you're going to walk away from this going, I hate my team, I hate my club, this is so rubbish. You have to look at the scenario that's going around it. I think, though, Man United will win narrowly 3-2. The game will be, in my personal opinion.
Prediction. Exactly.
I really need my team to be locked in, bruv, because before the Liverpool game, I said every single player needs an 8 out of 10 performance, and you all need to be locked in, right? I can go back to that game. I can tell you, Cole wasn't locked in, bro. You know what I'm saying? You had tossing straight away, pulling back Jota. You know what I mean? There's a few players in that game. Palmer's, Casper. I can't be having that again. Yeah. Yes, United are in the mud right now. You're still in the mud, whether you like it or not. Yeah, and you need to get out of the mud. You're making the right moves to get out of the mud. But we're a better team than you right now. We need to show that. We definitely need to show that the weekend, bro. I can't be walking away from Old Trafford with a draw or a loss again. Because last season we should have beaten you, and we made you look like a half decent team. You know what I mean? We need to win, bro. By all means, we need to win this weekend, man. I'm tired. I'm tired of you lot, bro.
Do you think you will win? Do you think you'll go? Yeah. Do you think you'll get the job done?
Yeah, I predicted 2-1 Chelsea. You know what I mean? I predicted 2-1 Chelsea. Right now, I'm literally not predicting any clean sheets, Terry, because like you're saying, we've got Sanchez in goal, who for me makes the defense even worse than what it actually looks like, right? I keep telling people, like, if you've got a goalkeeper behind you who's very shaky, the centre-backs in front of them, bro, aren't going to be that confident a lot of the time.
How can you have signed so many goalkeepers and you're talking about your goalkeeper being such a weakness? That's a massive indictment, man.
You know what's so weird about this? You know what's so weird about this as well, Lawless, yeah? Because away from the distribution, Sanchez has actually been good in terms of his shot stopping, right? He's won us some points. He's actually won us games. I remember against Forest, they made some world-class save towards the end of the game. They could have won that game, bro. Against Bournemouth, he saved the penalty. So away from the distribution, I can't fault him. He's actually been good. It's just the distribution, bro. You know, constantly playing it through the midfield and it's getting intercepted. In the air, he'll try to play it to our players in the air. It goes off the pitch or it'll just go to the opponent, right? He's got no composure whatsoever, bro. And when I'm at the games, I see the players complaining at him all the time. You don't catch these things on TV. Yeah, the other day, Jackson was shouting at him. Palmer was shouting at him. Colwell was shouting at him. It doesn't help the defense when you've got a goalkeeper that's just not stable. He just doesn't make the defense stable. Do you know what I mean? You need calmness from the back, and he doesn't provide that. That's why, for me, I think they'll score from a silly mistake. I don't think they're going to cut through us. I think it'll be from a stupid mistake. But like what Terry said, we've just got too much firepower, bruv. Yeah, Lavia and Caicedo will most likely start this game. You've got Palmer, who obviously knows he had a shit game at Anfield last time. Last year at Old Trafford, to be fair to him, he scored, even though the system was all over the place, right? We've got players right now in form, bro. Jackson, for example, is in red hot form. So we can definitely beat these guys. But like I've said, the back is what's going to make us lose the game if we do lose, bro. I don't think it's going to be the attack, because right now we're quite good in front of goal. We're quite clinical in front of goal.
On your midfield, have you seen the quotes today from Maresca?
No, of course.
So what he has said, again, I think this is, again, I'd love to get a take of a Chelsea fan, but the panel as well on this. I hope I bookmark it. No, I didn't. I need to go and find it again now. I sometimes do that. I forget to bookmark. Let's excuse me.
And I've seen AJ as well. AJ just spamming in the chat as well about overrating my squad, bro. Like, it's not about overrating my squad. The other day, Maresca was meant to use a mixed match of our team. Yeah, the first team and the second team. He took it too lightly up against a Newcastle team that had, you know, some really good players out there. We did as well, but you know, he's playing Dewsbury right wing, playing Disasi right back. When I saw that lineup, I wasn't confident that we're going to win the game. Do you know what I'm saying? So, end of the day, as much as we've got depth, you have to use that depth correctly, bro.
This is what he said here. It's Enzo Maresca. It says, Lavia and Caicedo give us physicality and strength in the middle. When we play with Enzo, it has to be Enzo and one between Romero and Moises Caicedo. When Enzo moves, we struggle in the middle with physicality in the moment. That's why he plays those two. That's why I also hope Enzo Fernandez plays, because I think Enzo's technical ability is there. And the fact that Maresca is calling this out so blatantly, I think he's got to at this point, because otherwise you almost, there's times where you've got to protect players and you can just kind of paper over things for fans. But I think every single football supporter that watches the Premier League can see that Enzo Fernandez physically is not right for the Premier League. He's not strong enough and he isn't quick enough. That almost negates his technical ability. And there are a handful of players through the history of football who don't have pace and they don't have a great deal of strength, but their footballing ability was so superior that they got by. I don't think Enzo's that dude.
I wouldn't say it's physicality. I wouldn't say his phicality is not good enough for the Prem. What it is, Terry, is that
your manager just said it. Your manager just said when we have him in the middle,
we are gonna struggle physically if you haven't got Caicedo or Lavia next to him, bro. Yeah, if you want to play Enzo Fernandez, he has to play in a pivot, like he's saying, with a Caicedo or Lavia next to him to help with the physicality, right? And like I keep saying, bro, for me, Enzo is not in my best 11. You know, we've spoken about this many times about his physicality and whatnot, but at the same time, he's got other strengths we can use. But for this game, we definitely need to play Caicedo and Lavia, bro. That needs to be our midfield going forward. You know, Enzo, if he's going to start games, it needs to be against the teams that are just going to sit back where he doesn't have that much ground to cover. Yeah, when he's got a lot of ground to cover, you know, he's got a lot of things going on right now with his misses and that as well. Bro, I'm not trying to see him start. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to see him start right now. Yeah, it has to be Caicedo and Lavia, and it will be Caicedo and Lavia, in my opinion.
Like, listen, again, it will be. I hope it isn't. But it will be then, because the guys are liability 100%. Lawless, what's your prediction for this game, bro?
Like I said, tough to call, but this will be the last time I back Chelsea if you don't win this. It's the last time I have any faith in your club. I'm going 2-1 Chelsea. Yeah, let's see.
What's that fan backing Chelsea? Wallahi, fun shame.
Well, yeah, obviously you're below us as well. I don't want you. I don't. You know what I mean? I want
not for long, bro. Not for,
you'll be 6 points.
By the end of this season, you won't see us for dust, brother.
Oh, big production.
Let me ask you a question without being rude. When was the last time West Ham finished above Man United? Genuine question. I don't know. You'll remember. Everyone remembers when they finished ahead of us. When was it?
I think we finished above you under Moyes' first season.
Did you?
Wait, did you finish above them when you finished 6th that year?
Yeah, you must have done, because when we came about 8th, didn't we? It must have been. No, we couldn't.
No, we were 8th last season.
Now that was your lowest finish last year, Terry. So you would have finished seventh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe.
I remember West Ham finished. You finished in Europa League spots.
When you made the Conference League, we were in Champions League, so you definitely didn't finish ahead of us that year.
Yeah, no, because the Conference League what didn't exist when we finished sixth. I don't think.
So how the hell did you guys make the Conference League?
No, that was the season after when we finished seventh. I was about when we finished sixth and we got Europa League in.
It's either this or it has to be Ranieri's season because Ranieri's season we finished.
I almost said 15-16.
Let's check. Let's just check that. So 15,
that season,
I'm on the website. I'm on the website. We can just check it when people say it. So, no, West Ham finished seventh. We finished fifth in Rangnick's season. That was that 21-22?
Yeah.
Yeah, they came seventh, we came sixth because we lost the final day. That's what happened. We lost the
we bottled it. Yeah,
you also lost against Brighton, so that happened then.
We both lost. Yeah.
So no point going back towards the Fergie era because you never finished above us then. There's been no other time, and then last season you guys again one place between you. So in the Premier League era, you haven't done. Yeah, so bruv, so that's why I'm confident we'll finish ahead of you because
but like these things are made to be broken.
I was in my dad's ball sack the last time it happened, bruv. So I'm confident, my G.
No, you'll finish above West Ham, man. Lawless, you need to stop this. Yeah, if you had Amorim now coming in,
if you would have sacked Lopetegui, I would have backed you now, but there's no chance.
Well, maybe it will happen. Maybe you don't know.
Nope, you missed your chance. You won the battle. I won the war. El Sacico had one winner. It was me.
Do you know what? This is gonna hit like crack. Yeah, if Amorim flops and we finish above you this season, what is
no one's gonna remember this?
Of course, it's gonna hit that crack.
Be too far from now.
I think Eminem said this about Machine Gun Kelly. Like my biggest flops are your biggest hits, and that's what this reminds me of. Even when we're crap, it's better than West Ham. You've never won the league, have you?
No. I think closest we came was 1986.
I was born then.
Why have you got to do him like that? Why have you got to do him like that?
No, I'm just listen. I'm not. It's not a disrespect thing. It's just I like their confidence. It's like, but you're laughing.
I don't care for your feelings. I'm sorry, Don. He just
Ben Shapiro down there.
It's like rubbing his head, starting to think.
I'm just saying that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, history is on your side, but. I don't think you have so much grounds to be super confident because, like I said, I don't rate your team like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't rate players.
We'll talk about this in a month.
If we beat them this weekend, in
a month
we're 9 points. Staffy will be 9 points ahead of you if we.
I know. That's what I said. If we win, it'll be
the proverbial 6-pointer. It really is. You know, it's the difference is huge. You know, we win.
Just agree that we got to write off no Europa League. Like your ceiling is probably 7th.
No, I'm not going to say that. Man United could finish anywhere now between 14th where they are and 5th. It's doable. If we win this weekend and we're 3 points, and I say it's doable, I'm not making any major predictions until I see Amorim at the club. But if we win this weekend and we're 3 points behind the team in 5th, after the start we've had, call anything from 3 points is a 4-point swing then between now and the end of the season is doable in my opinion if Amorim works. So. And I need to see at least one game with him before I start to say, we can catch.
You have to finish above a Villa or a Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? Obviously,
I've got Villa in my top 4 though.
So okay, so you're saying Chelsea.
But I'm saying 5th place would be plausible if we beat Chelsea at the weekend. 9 points makes it different because now you need a 10-point swing. This is why it's a 6-pointer because of the swing that happens. But listen, like. If we start playing well and winning games, can we get ahead of West Ham, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford, Spurs, Forest, and Brighton? It's plausible. I don't think it's beyond the realms of. But winning, we win this. We play this game. Who's our final Premier League game before the international break? Is it Leicester? I think it's Leicester.
Yeah, you got Leicester again. It ain't gonna be their second team you're playing this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this thing, if we can beat Chelsea and Leicester, and then Amorim comes in. Anything is possible.
You've got a good run of fixtures coming up after.
You start against Ipswich, so he has a good start.
And then Everton.
Some super chats here. First one says Enzo Fernandez needs to be nowhere near the first team. He's not good enough. This is a must-win after Maresca threw the cup to rest players for Sunday. That's also true. Whenever you rotate heavy, if you then don't win the game you've rotated for, it does piss fans off.
Oh, we must, bro.
Don Cust, leader of the Enzo Defense League. Don Cust is brilliant. Honestly, you should start patenting and copywriting some of these words like Don Lusion or Don Cuss. You should own them. They just
You
wear
don't
it
make
as a badge of
merch.
honor,
You should
man.
fully make merch. Like just
Like
I'm
as much as
on cut for saying that Enzo shouldn't be in our midfield, Terry. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
I think you should own these things. Trust me. If you don't, I'm going to buy the rights to them, and then I'll own it. Get it done. Terry, that's a joke, people. By the way, I don't actually mean it. Staffy say less. When this United team they turn it up, can beat any team in the world. Benny McCarthy said this. They felt micromanaged by Ten Hag, and that led to apathy. They win when they feel free. I hope they win.
I said 18 months ago, we bought Barcelona off the park. Now, 18 months later, they're competing for the league, and we're nowhere near it. What is the regression coming from? People think these players are crap. They're not. About 8 of these players
we also came third.
we
We also came third that season. We came third and deserved it.
That is what I'm trying to say.
It's and we've improved the squad since then as well. We have got a better squad then.
KJ to keep all this footage because it's going to be gold in about a month or two. I promise you, KJ. In about a month or two, we'll be putting out these clips. The Terrace Clips channel is going to go from 100K to 200K just with these takes.
Let's go, Clips channel. Do you boys think we are in for another classic era of the Premier League with all these exciting young managers entering the fray, likes of Amorim, Arteta, Maresca, Slot? Yes, especially as and when Pep leaves. I think Pep leaving is going to be, and I'm not trying to do up sort of, when Pep leaves, we'll then win. But it is kind of like that. You know, when Fergie left and then suddenly you went through like 4 or 5 years with multiple different winners, and then Pep came in and then it kind of dominated like Fergie did. I think it will go through a similar era, I think, again. A big congrats to Bowley and his LA Dodgers on dominating the Yankees to win the World Series. It's not the World Series, though, is it? It's America's championship. But yes, well done to them for that. If we do not smash you guys by 3 or more goals, I do not know what to do with myself. Side note, Enzo Fernandez must be sold. There can only be one Enzo. That's from DR. Hope you're well,
DR. If we smoke you by 3 goals or more after all this talk you've been giving that, right?
Yeah,
because it won't even surprise me. The thing is, Terry, it won't even surprise me.
Win-win, because it's not our new permanent manager. So it's like, that's terrible.
Is that what it is now? No matter what happens right now, we're gonna wait for
this free here. I'm doing it up, bruv. I'm doing it up.
I expect a Staffy Ruud van Nistelrooy rant. I expect him to call him a fraud.
Why? Do you like to see me miserable? I'm sorry. Yes. You hate seeing me happy, bro. When I don't back my team, there's an issue. Today, I'm backing my team. Look how the chat is rattled today. Get used to it, okay? Because I'm going to be backing my team now that the terrorist is gone. All right? We're not going to get battered. Clip this shit, too. We're not getting battered. There's a very good chance we lose the game. Yes, because Chelsea's a good team. We are not losing 3-4-0, all this deluded stuff that I'm hearing.
It's going to be insufferable.
I'm not saying anything about
this season.
Again, unless we get a player sent off 10 minutes in, something like that, an anomaly.
But I expect people to be 11 enough to know that if someone gets sent off, Onana breaks his hand, something crazy happens, then yes, we will get better. That's it.
Guys, will Arsenal get revenge this weekend when they take on Newcastle United? 12:30 kickoff tomorrow. Will they get their revenge after last season's defeat? What are you saying, Don?
Where is the game?
St. James's Park.
Go ahead, Don. I know what you're going to say. Is Don there?
Don's froze.
I think he's frozen. I'll go ahead and I'll talk. Bro.
Yeah, my connection was moving crazy. Bro, it's gonna be an interesting game. It's definitely going to be an interesting game, man. Because Newcastle right now, they're not playing that badly. It's just that they're not winning games, innit? They're not scoring many goals. We played them the other day, and to be honest with you, the win could have been more convincing if we did things differently. Like, for example, Sanchez, if he wasn't as shaky as what he was, it could have looked better than what it was. Because towards the end of the game, bro, we were hanging on. We defended quite well. So it's not going to be an easy game for them, man. Like, they've got Isak, they've got players like Gordon back now. When they started Harvey Barnes the other day, he played really well. So in attack, they could do something against this defense, which seems a little bit away at the minute. Do you know what I'm saying? So listen, it's going to be an interesting one, innit? I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as what people think, especially where they're going away as well, and it's quite early. I think the crowd's going to be jumping, man. Similar sort of thing as us. Arsenal need to go there and quieten the crowd ASAP. I don't know if Odegaard's back for this game. I'm seeing Arteta's been talking about him. Is he back? Does anyone know?
I heard he might be training or something. Like Odegaard is training. I don't know if he's fully back. It wouldn't be surprise me if Arteta just rushes Odegaard into the game like he seems.
Oh, if he's not back, Nwaneri needs to start.
Yeah, he's not.
Nwaneri needs to start
because they were talking about starting 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to play Nwaneri. He can't be playing Marino in that 10 or Trossard in that 10. Play people in their natural position, and you'll see the team play a lot better. You know, give the guy a little bit of trust, bro. Like, it doesn't matter if he's 17 years old, bro. I don't look at his age because he's good, very good. You know what I mean? So if they start him, they have a chance of winning the game. Obviously Saka, you know, on that side against Lewis Hall, that's going to be an interesting battle as well because Hall right now has been their best player this season. Pete told me this on my preview when we previewed the game last week. He said Hall's been their best player. He played very well against us. He got an assist as well. In their midfield, obviously they've got Joe Linton, Bruno, and Tonali. That's quite industrious. These guys are going to press you. You know what I mean? They don't give you any space to build up from the back, right? That's one thing about Newcastle. You need to be on your A game. You know, you have to be able to beat that press, and in front of goal, make sure that you're quite clinical as well, because they're not bad defensively, bro. Like Dan Burn, Shaw, Livramento, and Lewis Hall, that's not a bad defense. You know, they've conceded less goals than us. I think they've even conceded less goals than Arsenal. It might be the same. So it's going to be an interesting one, Terry, man. Obviously, Arsenal have got better players, so they can win the game, but there's a few intangibles here. You know what I mean? Newcastle are due a win. They're due a win, bro. They need to win.
Don, this is the biggest 1-1 draw written all over it I've ever seen. This game, you know, when we say, what are all the nicknames that they're giving Arteta and the football that he plays? Listen, Haram football is coming tomorrow. It is going to be such a defensive game that I think tomorrow there's going to be, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm always looking forward to watching match reactions on the terrace, but I'm looking forward tomorrow if Arsenal don't win. Because there's a lot of things being said that, you know, the reason they weren't more attacking in certain games is because the opposition is big. They're away from home. They had 3 red cards. Listen, the dark arts will be back tomorrow. This game is going to be so physical. They're going to get revenge, but they're going to get revenge on the kicking that they got last year when Bruno Guimaraes was kicking the players all over the place. It is going to be one of the worst tactical games, I believe, that we're going to see this season. Because both teams are going to play so physical. Both defenses are going to shut up. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of fluid attacking. I don't think Newcastle has it in them. They haven't been that good this year. And I honestly don't think Arsenal are going to play any good attacking football until Odegaard is back. Tomorrow is going to be one of the most boring games in the league, in my opinion.
I think
you don't think Newcastle are going to be on the front foot for this, Staffy?
They will try. I think they'll attack more than Arsenal, if anything. But I just rate this Arsenal defense. So I just don't see a lot of goals.
Yeah, but listen, if there's anywhere where Newcastle want to attack their defense, is especially their fullbacks, bro. Like Newcastle have got very good wingers. Yeah, like I said, they've got Gordon on one side. I don't rate Almiron. He started against us on the right. He was useless. But they mainly play off their left. That's the pattern that I was seeing when we played Newcastle. They love to go to their left, to Harvey Barnes or Anthony Gordon. So whoever starts on that side, it might be Timber, it might be Ben White. It's not going to be an easy game for them. You know what I mean? They need to make sure. And obviously, you've got Isak, like I've said, who's very clinical. You know, one thing about Saliba, bro, he doesn't like facing those sort of nines. I've got a bit of tech and flair and that. You know, I mean, I've seen him a few times struggle against that sort of profile striker. So, bro, Newcastle can do something in attack as well, bro.
Yeah, but so here's the thing. I fancy this Arsenal defense because Almiron. Listen, I rate Gordon. Obviously, I rate Isak. But who's Almiron gonna go against? Who's gonna play on the left? Timber. I think Timber's.
Left back will be who is it? California's injured, right? This guy's always injured.
I think he's injured. That's why I'm saying Timber. And then you got
so it'll probably be Timber. Right? Timber will probably go left back, and then you'll probably have Ben White playing right back. And then
the center backs are back. Saliba's back. And I'm not gonna lie, Isak hasn't been that good this year. He's been having a lot of bozo moments.
Nah.
So that back line, I don't see how this back line is gonna concede a lot of chances. They'll probably have a lot of the ball, but I just fancy this back line to keep them quiet. I did predict a 1-1, so they'll find a goal somehow. But I just don't think there's gonna be a lot of clear-cut chances. And I think it's gonna be another one where Arsenal play on the counter. I don't know who their midfield is gonna be. Because if they had Nwaneri, I'd be like, you know what, they have someone who can somewhat do what Odegaard does. So I can't predict that midfield. I don't know how good that midfield is going to be. But it's been one of their issues this season. As much as other Arsenal fans hate when we say that, I just don't think they've been approaching a lot of games this season with an attacking mind. They'll probably do their thing off the counter. If Saka scores off a brilliant moment because he's a world-class player, then fair enough. But you can't predict a team to play in moments. You can expect it because they have the quality. But how am I meant to predict when I think the team's going to play on the counter tomorrow? I think that's been Arteta's approach in most big games this season. So I think it's going to be one of those where he's going to respect Newcastle. He doesn't want to lose. He's away from home. He doesn't have his best midfielder, and he'll focus more on defending than attacking. So it's going to be one of those where he probably just tries to hit him on the counter. I could be wrong. It's just the way I see it.
Lawless, just to go on to you, bro, yeah? Is that the right way to approach the game, bro?
I don't think so, because I think this is a must-win for Arsenal in terms of the title. Because if they don't win and Liverpool and Man City win their games, that gap gets frighteningly wide. Do you know what I mean? At this stage of the season, they don't want to be giving up that many points to Liverpool and Man City. So they really need to come away with 3 points. Like, if they come away with a point, you sit there and go, oh, Newcastle, tough place to go, point away from home, really good. Like, nah. Like, after that Bournemouth game, they need to respond by picking up 3 points. And so they're going to have to go for it, really and truly. They can't always expect the dark arts and set piece FC to bail them out. I think they'll win. Unfortunately, I do think that they'll just about win. You know what I mean? So Newcastle have just been... I get what you're saying, Don, about, they've been good in spells and just ain't got the results. Like, I'm sorry that you can't, for the whole season, do you know what I mean? That's the story. I haven't seen anything from Newcastle convince me that they can get a win over Arsenal, apart from the fact that, St. James's Park, and they've got some good players on paper. They need to have more than that, do you know what I mean, to get a win against these players. Now they've got Saka back, Gabriel. Depends on if he's in or not. That's going to be huge. Obviously, Saliba's back. Yeah, it's going to be one of them ones. So I can see a 1-0 Arsenal. I really can, to be honest with you. But it wouldn't surprise me, like I said, how it goes the way you guys say. It's really, really and truly. But I just
if it's must win, then I don't think it matters about performance. I don't think it matters about how they win. It's just about getting it over the line, sort of point. And I think they will win. Arsenal. Newcastle away is a really tough game. It is. But you're talking about an Arsenal side who has lost one game away from home in almost a calendar year now in the Premier League. And they're undefeated again away from home so far this season. And they know as and when to attack and when to be pragmatic. And I think I think when most teams go away to Newcastle, especially the bigger teams, there are always spells in the game where the crowds, they've got tremendous noise. And what helps the noise at their stadium, I'm still not actually sure as to why, but away fans are stuck right up in the rafters rather than around the pitch like at any other stadium. And I think that gives Newcastle an advantage in these games, because when you're a player on the pitch, you can't hear any of your fans. It's literally from all corners. You've just got Newcastle fans are going to be so up for this. But what Arsenal have become brilliant at doing is they know how and when to sit there, and some will say stink the house out, play haram ball, whatever the sort of modern day phrase for it is. But they know how to like nullify and calm a crowd down. The same thing you were talking about, Don, with what you want your team to do at Old Trafford. It's keep the crowd quiet. When you take away the noise of the crowd, it's like taking away the 12th man, and then it gives you an opportunity to attack. And I think the first 15 minutes is going to be important for Arsenal to get through. If they don't concede, because I think they're going to come out like a bull in a china shop, Newcastle. If Arsenal don't concede in that period, I think they go on to win. So I believe they will win. I'm going narrowly 1-0, 2-1, something along those lines. However, if they do concede first, then I think they might actually go on to lose. I think it'll be a close game. Newcastle, even when Newcastle were trash, they so regularly got up for the games against the Arsenals, the Man Uniteds, the Liverpools and stuff like that. And they have got decent players out there. And Isak started to score goals as an example. Maybe after that win against Chelsea, there's a bit of a buoyant feeling about them. But if I'm going to be honest and predict, I'm going to go with 1-0 or 2-1 to Arsenal, a narrow win. But I do agree with you as well, Don. Nwaneri needs to start. He absolutely needs to start. And I don't know. I feel like Arteta has done a very good job with the young man. Gave him his debut, was every now and then was exposing him to first team training, first team games, etc. But obviously wanted him to probably, you'll find when all this comes out in the wash later on down the line, to develop physically as into a man. Still only 17 years of age, I will add, so he's still not like legally a man right now. But he's, every time I watch him play, when he's come on fleetingly in Premier League games, starting matches in the League Cup, he just looks special. He looks really, really special. And I always say this about young players. Sometimes this formula doesn't work. But typically speaking, when a young player plays for a top team, I think you can tell within half an hour whether they've genuinely got a future at the club in terms of being a regular first-team player for you. We saw it with Mainu almost straight away as an example, like, wow, there's something in there. And then he kept on having those wow moments game after game after game. Nwaneri's very similar, in my opinion. You look at him and you can just tell. Cole Palmer, another, obviously he started off at City. You watched him for, oh, there's a player in there. Some players you just see. And from a look, do I want Arsenal to have another superstar? Not really. Not as a Man United fan, of course I don't. As a England fan, as a football fan at large, it's great to see another young talent coming through. And what I like about him, he's kind of a bit old school in the sense of he looks like he looks like the type of player that will do very well in a bit of a free role. You know, he can drop a little bit deeper and play. He can attack and play. If he gets pushed out into a wide position, he's going to be comfortable out there. What I love about this kid is that it's not as though he's sort of boxed in and he can play one position and one position only. He can be everywhere. He's so talented. And I think if he starts,
that's exactly what happens.
I think he'll ball out. And I think he'll anyone who hasn't watched him yet, because unlike a lot of us that do the YouTube game, people don't watch a lot of rivals matches. This game, 12:30 kickoff tomorrow. Everyone will be sitting down to watch it. If he starts, I think he'll have one of those performances where everybody almost Wayne Rooney-esque. Remember the name. It could be one of those days for him.
Yeah. He's got a lot of natural ability. That's what I like about him. And you know, it seems like, you know, pressure doesn't really phase him at this stage. I mean, I know we haven't really seen much of him, but when he comes on, you just see a spark straight away because Arsenal, it's a chore. I'll be real, Terry. Watching Arsenal at times, it's a serious chore, bro. You know, and Nwaneri seems like a player that can actually make you want to wake up and watch Arsenal. It's like, yo, when Nwaneri's going to start today, let me see what he can do, bring something to the midfield and that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, yeah, as a rival, like you're saying, bro, I don't want to see these guys do well, but as a football fan, it's nice to see, bro. And I don't know why Arteta hasn't really learned his lesson or bedded him in earlier, because I remember with Smith Rowe, he was being benched at the beginning as well with Arteta. And then I think Willian was ill before they played us, and Smith Rowe got chucked in. He ended up winning the game, bro. I think we lost that game, and Smith Rowe scored. Yeah, and after that, he was in the team because of that circumstance. So sometimes, bro, you just got to chuck them in. You know, if he can't deal with it, you take him out. You know, but some of these guys, bro, just chuck them in, man, and see what they can do, bro.
And I think as well that there's so much less risk at an Arsenal and where Arsenal are now. So what Saka did was very special. A team that was in the mud, a team that was struggling, a team that the whole world was laughing at, and he went in and started. There's a lot of pressure on that. Mainu at Man United, he came in when we were not a very good team. Loads of people going, oh, well, good luck, young man. As soon as he got a bit of praise, the whole world and his dog wanted to absolutely shit on that guy. And that's why, again, with Amarim coming in, one of the reasons I want it to work so much on a side note is I'd love to see this young man play in a really good system, in a really good team. I think he'll flourish in that. Nwaneri is going into a team that is very well drilled, where he doesn't need to be the match winner, the superstar, and carry the team, because you've got Sakas and you've got Kai Havertz and Declan Rice and Gabriel Saliba, Raya, these elder statesmen, regardless of how long they've been at the club, who've been doing it 2, 3, 4, 5 plus years. He doesn't need to be the superstar. He can just be a young player that flourishes. And I think that's why I want to see Arteta give him a go, because it's not like a struggling team. Who we got to change it for us to give this kid a chance, and then all the pressure goes on that young man. I think he can kind of have that freedom, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Maradon here with a very interesting comment. Says Terry, so did Balogun and is it Patino? The thing is, I never saw Balogun play a game for Arsenal, or I don't remember him playing very regularly, and he definitely didn't like set the world alight. And did Patino play many games? Again, I think you're just making that up, Maradon. I don't remember those guys having debuts and everybody went, oh my God, look how amazing they are. I'm talking about, forget what Arsenal fans say. I'm talking when Mainu first played for Man United, the whole world of football went, fucking hell, look at him. That didn't happen with those two, in my opinion, personally.
Yeah, no, I remember Tino played when they wore that white kit, bro, because I remember I had COVID then. that white kid. He started that day. Who did they play?
I remember that.
Forest definitely played Forest.
Might have been Forest in the FA Cup or something like that. Yeah.
The knife crime. He played that game. That was it.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's he did okay, I think. I don't remember it. Don, what if Chelsea lose to United and Arsenal?
Ooh. Oh, then it's peak, innit? Simple as that, bro. It's peak if we lose to both of these teams. I hate both of them. You know what I mean? I hate both of them. I wish the worst for both of them. So I hope we beat Arsenal. I hope we beat United because again, people will start to look at Chelsea even more differently. Because right now, Liverpool and City, we failed both tests. I know it wasn't poor performances, but you know we've got to start winning against these top 6 sides, man. If we want to finish above them or have a chance to.
Yep. We love top red Staffy. I like a positive Staffy. I like a positive Staffy, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but you know what it is? When I'm negative or positives, I give you good reasons anyways. I never just tell you I'm positive or negative and I don't explain why. I give very constructive reasons to why I'm on either side.
I get that. How delusional are United fans, Don? I mean,
you can't tell me anything I said today that's delusional.
I don't think Man United, again, me and Staffy have not said anything. You may not agree with it, but it doesn't make it delusional. None of us have sat here talking about winning the league next year, winning 2 or 3 trophies this year, smashing anybody up. No one said anything crazy in my personal
Sorry, that's the biggest buzzword. That's the biggest buzzword on YouTube, bro. Delusional. As soon as someone hears something they don't like, oh, you're delusional. And I'm like, what have I said that's actually delusional? Do you know what I'm saying?
Bro, when you recap everything I said, I'm delusional. Why? Because I said we could beat Chelsea because I think these players are better than what Ten Hag showed. Like, what did I say exactly that was delusional? It is what it is.
In terms of the title race, Man City go away to Bournemouth, then away to Sporting and get a little mini Manchester derby there with the manager situation. Then away to Brighton, then they play Tottenham. Got a number of injury problems at the moment. They weren't at their best again against Spurs and got knocked out of the cup. They've kind of got through a number of games recently against Southampton's, the Wolverhampton game, the Fulham game, Newcastle, where they could have lost those games. They could have drawn those games, but they got the wins. Away at Bournemouth is a very difficult place to go. Chelsea, they won there, but it was hard. They beat Arsenal. We've seen Bournemouth have some very good results in recent times. They drew with Aston Villa at the weekend. Is this another potential banana skin for Pep and his team with the injury issues that they have, or will it be? Again, Savinio's out. There's doubts on. This is on whoscored.com. So if it's been updated since, don't shoot me. I'm going on this website. Oscar Bob obviously out. Rodri out. KDB, Walker, Grealish, Doku, Savio. They're now saying that Akanji and Guardiol are also risks as well. And if that's true. If that's only what this website, I mean, if all those players are out, I mean, it's just not Man City, is it? If all those players are out, you're talking about a much different team.
Yeah, then they really 100%. Need a big game, like a big performance, because they have been scraping things. But like you said, Terry, like if they get the points, but it's going to be tough, man. Like that Southampton game, man, was a surprising because Southampton are shocking. They are absolutely easily the worst team in the league. Now they're going up against an informed Bournemouth, who, like you said, have been really good this season. Do you know what I mean? Even beside the games that you've said, them games where, like Everton game, coming back from 2-0 down, winning 3-2. They've got the players there to hurt teams. So it's all going to be about the creativity. And I just don't know if they've got enough creativity at the moment, Man City. So that is a massive
worry
on the skin.
Lourdes, I'll be worried as a Man City fan because listen, even with Rodri, you can get at these guys on a transition. Like if people need to start watching other teams to see, like Man City are not invincible, bro. You know what I mean? Defensively this year, they've been shit as well, right? And Bournemouth on the transition are a fucking scary outfit. The way they're just whipping the ball, it's a mania on these lot. That striker they bought now seems to be catching a little bit of form, seems to be getting used to the league and whatnot. And their midfield, they just don't give you any time to breathe. They press the fuck out of you, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a tough game for Man City. Right now, as a Man City fan, I wouldn't even care about the performance too much. There's just too much going on at their club right now.
Yes.
We take the fucking points and run. That's what I would say. It's going to be a tough game.
It's funny, really, because we saw the other day Gary Neville say that Arsenal should forget about their injuries. You've just got to win. You've just got to get results. Injuries are no excuse. I disagree with it when he said it about Arsenal. Of course, there's a if you depending on who's out and who's missing, there are sometimes legitimate reasons why it's harder to win football matches. Everybody knows that, right? Same thing for Man City, though. As amazing as they are run as a football club, as brilliant as their squad is, if that list of injuries and doubts that we've just read out ends up being real, if you go into any Premier League game, away from home especially, without Rodri, KDB, Doku, Salvio, Akanji's been their best centre-back in the last 3 years. You know, there's a few other names. Oscar Bob's obviously from the bench. If all of those guys are out, injured, of course, I mean, that's a massive leveler. Suddenly, those two teams that go out and start the game are much closer together in terms of the quality. You've got the home advantage element. There is a reason to lose. There is a reason that you could drop points. The idea that just because you've got injuries, it's absolutely inexcusable to not drop points. I don't know where that's come from the mainstream media. I don't know how anyone can say that.
But the fact they've been doing it, though, and still picking up the wins, there's kind of, I guess, some merit to it that, you know what I mean?
There is, right? And I call those champions wins. When a team plays average and they pick up wins, you think, wow, they're going to do something. But again, when I speak about this is what I love about podcasts, because you actually get to speak fully as opposed to like little sound bites off television. You can't maintain those performance levels for 5 games, 10 games, 15 games, and you're not going to win all of them. At some point, you are going to start to drop points. Every now and then you can drop a stinker and still win, and you get away with it. But when those performances become more regular, more consistent, that's when doubt creeps into the players' minds. And look, they need a performance. They need, these players need to go there, score early, get a second, kill them. Arsenal play first as well. And if Arsenal get that win, they're going to be sniffing. Liverpool are kicking off at the same time. And the last thing those City fans and City players want to hear is 1-0 down. Arsenal have won. Liverpool are suddenly 2-0 up against Brighton. That pressure's going to creep in a little bit. And then they've got some other tough away games. Away to Sporting in the Champions League. They've got to put out a good team for that, because no one still knows how many points you're going to fucking need to qualify in that competition. Then they go away to Brighton, which again, that's not, with the players they've got missing, that is not an easy game. So I'm really excited about City's games over the next couple of weeks, because they could drop points, and I think the title race needs City to drop points. But equally, I hate saying this because they're one of my biggest rivals, but if they get through these games with more victories, it just proves they're the best team in the world, one of the greatest English sides of all time. If they ride this storm and get through it, I think it just shows how fucking amazing, all bias, all subjectivity aside, it will just demonstrate how fucking phenomenal they are as a football club. If they can get through these next 2 or 3 games with wins, especially in the league, and maintain their superiority at the top, you can do nothing but take your hat off to them. You really, in my personal opinion anyway.
Yeah, just get to that international break, I think, is the objective, and then see what you've got when you've come back. But yeah, spot on. Like, that would be incredible. They've got, who they got co-is then? They've got Bournemouth, Brighton away, Spurs at home, is the next 3 league games. They have
a few tough games, and Bournemouth isn't going to be that easy. I was told earlier today that they went down 1-0 5 times this season. So it's going to be interesting to see if they could actually come back if they concede an early goal to Bournemouth. Because I don't think all these...
Sorry, this is how crazy... Terry, stop the BS. City have experienced winners. If it was Arsenal, you'd be making excuses. I have given City an excuse, you fucking pleb. I have said that when you have that many injuries, it is not like, oh my God. This is what I mean. If they lose to Bournemouth, and I've just read another super chat that they're traveling with 11 outfield players. That's all they're going to have is 11 outfield players going to this game. I've read a few rumors around that, right? If that's true, and they've got barely any subs other than kids, and they lose, the reaction won't be, I can't believe they've lost today. This is shocking. No way did we see this coming. That's what I mean.
They have nothing coming off the bench here.
That's the big when people like Maradona write that, it's like, I get you want to stick it to Arsenal. I get you want to stick it to me, but that don't hit, bruv. I've literally just said it is not a shock. It is not inconceivable that with these injuries, City drop points. I really don't understand your comment, Maradona. You really messed up there, brother. Go soak your head somewhere. That's crazy. But I want to check that out if that's true, though. City 11 players. Where's that come from? Because the person hasn't put a source in here. Oh, this has come from an account that says City have just 11 senior players available for the Bournemouth games. Yeah, there's a few accounts that have said they've only got 11 senior outfield players available for the game. That's crazy.
They have. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing coming off the bench. They have Pep. Listen, and if there's anyone in the world that I fancy to do this, it is Pep. To have one game plan and for it to work. But if it doesn't work and they do go down 1-0, this is the closest they should be this season to dropping points. I'll be honest. Like it's this. Like what more do you need to predict a team to drop points? You know what I'm saying? So it's not an easy fixture at all. If they go down 1-0, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think they win this game. But we'll see, because a lot can happen in football.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting ones, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's really funny though. You know, if they do drop points, and I don't know, Liverpool win their second Premier League, or if Arsenal win their first in 20 years, you know what you already know. Yeah, you only want it though because City had an injury crisis. You know that's coming, right? Gooners, strap yourselves in because you won't get a credit. I always say this to people: unless you do what City have done, or what Man United did. Typically, it's hard to get credit from rivals. So if you're banking on credit from rivals as a general rule, forget about it. Especially if City drop points in this injury crisis. No one. If people are going to look at Liverpool, Liverpool still say things like Liverpool only won the league when it was behind closed doors, and it's like no, they practically won the league before that happened. But yet they still get that said about them. It's just the way it is, I suppose. Haaland is going to dunk all over them. You lot are mad. I mean, yes, I mean, who's going to create the chances for him if all those players are out? CB, who's going to create? Generally, who's going to create the chances? Because he's not a man who scores his own goals per se. Although he does score some absolutely ridiculous goals that others wouldn't. Who's putting those balls into the boxes, in your opinion, my friend? I'd love to hear from you on that, brother. But it's an excuse for Arsenal and every other team too. No, I get that. Chelsea go on to win the league. They'll just say, again, if Chelsea went on to win the league from this point, you would hear Slot's first season, Arsenal are serial bottlers, and City had injuries. They would try to take anyone who did it from this point, they would try and take it away from them by saying those things. And that's just the way like football fans work, I suppose. It's a little jarring, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. This is punishment before the punishment for City. Oh, okay. I get what you mean. I don't know about that. Hang on, Terry, you fucking plub. They won the last 4 titles. What are you chatting about? What? Am I missing something here, boys? Am I missing something here?
You're missing that you forgot who you're talking to.
Yeah, it just got to be Maradona. Do you know what? That's why I love this guy. He is such great crack. Like, he does cheer me up. No matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, he's here. He's like I'm going to start calling him my shadow, bruv. Like, he's there, like my shadow, all the time. He's never not there.
I think we should start using the word plub.
Like, I lost the point.
Plub.
Normalize plub. Make plub part of
you
the
plub. You plub. I love it. Man is on weed. I don't know. Might be. Yeah, fair play. That's what you do. That's what you do. Why is this clown? Listen, I had to make him a mod because we did the math. The man has spent a third of his life in the last 7 years watching me. Genuinely a third of his life. Me, sleep, eating is Maradona's life. How can I not at least give him the honor? If you could give away free memberships to people on the terrace, I'd do that, but YouTube don't allow you to. I would do it. Like, Maradona commits a third of his life to me. Most people don't give a third of their time to their wives. This man gives a third of his life to me. Got to be a mod for that, bruv. Got to be. Absolutely got to be. Explain the math. Well, because we worked out how many hours a week I stream and do content for, and he's here for every single minute of it. And then you work that out over the course of a week, and then you work out the timings, and then you work out how many hours are in a day, and how many hours you sleep, how many hours you spend at work. But we did the maths live, and it was basically like a third.
Why does he never call in though? Why does he never call in? Maybe it's just a bot.
He's a troll. Listen, there's it's like all these trolls that are out there. They're never going to show their face. He's never going to use his real name. Like, sometimes there's another guy that writes things, and he sort of writes like he's a bit of a roadman, which is fine. I don't care. But you can tell that he is about. He's either like really older and geeky, or he's like really young. And that's why they won't show their faces. But I like it. They're fun. They're fun. They're fun people. They're fun people to be around, personally. Big up to you all. Love you guys. Are the best, is what Daniel Ramsden has got to say.
Big up Daniel, man. Yes,
absolutely. Look, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has tuned into the show today. It's always a pleasure. Yeah, I do notice. I notice a lot of my viewers. I enjoy it. Some of you I notice, but I purposely ignore you because I don't wind you up more. And yeah,
what team is this called, by the way, Terry?
Maradon, a Liverpool fan. I think he's a Liverpool fan. The way he talks,
that explains it.
I think he's a Liverpool fan. Big up yourself, Maradon. I know you enjoy it, and I know what it is. When he gets the acknowledgement, he gets noticed. He'll feel good about himself, and that makes me feel good. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Terry saw me. Yes. Do you know what I mean? So big up yourself, Maradon. Big up yourself. Look, I want to say a big thank you to everybody that has tuned into the show today. This video is going to take you through to Hassam's channel, so go and support my brother over there right now. Twisted Bubba, I know you hate being ignored. That's why you ask such weird questions so you get noticed. But there you are. You know,
how he always asks it in caps as well, like he's screaming. I'm like, Bubba, you don't need to write everything in caps.
Yeah, like people like Twisted Bubba and Maradon, they're the kind of people that I thought, you know, when you've seen video footage of people meeting Justin Bieber or Michael Jackson, they burst out screaming and crying. That'd be them, man. If they met me, they wouldn't be able to hold it in. They just burst out tears, like, oh my God, my hero's here. I know it. Oh my God. I just can imagine it. You're a hero.
You need to make it happen.
Yeah, we should do it like a make-a-wish thing. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what they could do.
Shit.
By the way, I don't really think that about myself. Disclaimer. I'm being sarcastic. That is sarcasm. That is not real. Okay. Disclaimer for the toaster people. You boys all know what the toaster people are?
Now, what's the toaster people?
They're people that are so silly that they shouldn't be trusted with the toaster. That's what I call them, toaster people. Listen. Staffy, come to Philly, bro. Maradon is in Philly. Maradon is not in Philly. He's not in Philly. And I know he's not in Philly. He's not in Philly. Last time I went to
Philly, they gave me a ticket and I tried to pay it online. They didn't let me pay it online. It wasn't existing. And then I got another mail from them saying now the ticket is $100.
These are people that put cheese on steak. Like you can't trust these.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I like Philly. Philly is amazing. I only went. I was going a few parts of the States, and I went Philly just so I could run the Rocky Stairs. Literally, it's the only reason I went. And then I went to 2 or 3 of the locations where they film stuff. Just literally went for the film. But I did that when I went to LA. Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I want to go to the beach where they filmed the opening scene in The Karate Kid on the beach. When
Don says Philly over New York. Don, yeah. Why do I always call him? Because he's got Hussam.
Yeah, I'm calling Don. This fraud, bro. You know what I mean?
Hussam. Nah, he's the original Don. He's the original Don. To be fair,
man. There's only one Don, man.
But your name's better. I honestly think you should patent it and just go around and being known as Don Lusional. Like
I would buy a Don Lusional t-shirt. I swear.
I'd buy a hat off you. I'd buy merch. I'd buy the DVD, bruv. Don Lusional on tour. Like it's got a ring to it. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Get across to Hassam's channel right now. Peace.